Hi everybody, welcome to my next video. My name is George Kelly. I'm doing a series of videos about sourcing for reselling. And I'd like to tell some of my stories. Maybe I could teach you something. Maybe you could learn something from what I've gone through and the type of things I've done. I've been doing reselling for over 40 years, so I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. And today in this video, I wanted to share a couple tools that I used over the years to find a lot of different things and make a lot of different money. And they're both pretty simple. The number one thing I've used quite a bit is a business card. I make my own business card on my computer. It's just a little black and white. I bought the paper at Staples, and you can buy a pack of business card paper, and I just print them up, and basically at the top it says antique buyer, we buy anything old, and then it has a whole list of different things on there that I'm looking for, things I want to buy, and at the bottom it's got my name and my phone number, and I give the cards out all the time at garage sales, especially if I like to feel people out and see kind of why they're having a sale, what they're doing. A lot of times they'll tell me that someone in the family died and they're trying to get rid of some of the stuff that was left over there, and then I give my card and I say I'm looking for certain things that I'd like to buy, and all the things on the card are like, I buy antiques, I buy old toys, I buy cameras, I buy, there's like 25 different things I have listed there. And basically what those are memory joggers. For instance, I went to a sale, some woman, and she was having a garage sale, and she started telling me that her husband passed away, and I gave her my card, and I said, I'm looking to buy different things, and she looked at it and she said, "Oh, you buy cameras?" And I said, "Yeah, definitely. I'm always looking for cameras." And then she brought out some cameras that were her husband's, and some lenses that. I'll make another video on that buy, but that day I spent $650 on some cameras and some lenses, and I wasn't completely sure what I was buying at the time. I didn't know that much about cameras, but I ended up selling them for over $10,000 on eBay. So just for giving her that little card, and I've done that many times, and it's something that it's worked for me. I made so much money using a little cheap card that I make. It's nothing professional looking. It's not fancy. It's not in color or anything. It says what I buy, and it's got my name and number on there. And the other thing another tool I've used over the years is to have an ad in the paper. We used to have a little paper in the neighborhood here. It's called the Free Shopper. And basically it was an ad paper. It was just completely filled with ads. So there was ads for any kind of business you think of. There was ads for like nail salons and hairdressers and painters, plumbers, carpenters, real estate ads, and just whatever you can imagine. And they used to take the papers and put them in the lobby of a restaurant or a grocery store, and they'd have a big stack of them there for free. They're called a Free Shopper, and people would come and take them and go in the restaurant and read them while they're sitting there eating. And I took out there was one page in there that was all wanted to buy ads, and I took out a little 1-inch ad, and it basically said the same thing that my card says. Antique buyer, we buy anything old. And I didn't have a lot of room to put a lot of stuff, but I put down the furniture and old toys and dolls, and then I had my name and phone number, and They used to charge $130 for 3 months, and I used to get 2, 3 calls every month, and I would always go. People call up and say, we got a bunch of stuff we want to sell if you want to come over, and I would always go because you never know what you're going to walk into. And many times I would walk into something where, grandma died or their mom died, someone died, and the relatives are there and they have to try to clean out the house so they could sell it. So, I'd be the first one in there, and that was always my goal. Is I want to be the first person in the house. I want to be the first person to go through this stuff because, I really don't like going to the conducted estate sales because, there's 25, 30 people there, and the people running the sale are pretty knowledgeable. They know what the price stuff. I can't buy that, pay that kind of money for this stuff. But if I can get in the house and be the only one in there, that's what I want. Where I'm making a pile and let's make a deal. And these people want to get rid of the stuff. They're not trying to get rich or anything. They just want to clear out the house. And one thing I always tell them is that the money's in the house, not the stuff inside. You might have $3,000 or $4,000 worth of used furniture, but the house is worth $250,000. And why fool around with all this stuff? Just get rid of it. And many times at garage sales, I'll give the card, and next thing I know, they're bringing me in the house. Come in the basement, look at this dresser, and I always want to go and look at a dresser or anything. I just want to get in the basement, and I don't want to buy furniture, to tell you the truth, but I'll say, well, it's not quite what I'm looking for, but what about that lamp over there? Or what about that box of toys? Or, it gets you in the door. And I've been into hundreds and hundreds of houses in the attics and the basements and the garage. And I bought tons of stuff. And that's what I want to do. I want to get in there and be the only one buying their junk. And I've worked myself into different situations where the people keep calling me back over and over. And I know it's hard to believe, but I was at one house where I was going through this basement for 5 years, and the guy would call me back every 3 months and say, "Come on over and go shopping again." And I'd go over there and make a giant pile of stuff, and the basement was just packed with stuff. It was unbelievable. And I'm going to make a whole video about that one too, because it's quite a story. But it's happened to me a number of times. It's happened to me many times. And I used to do estate sales too. I used to conduct them, and me and a friend. And the way I used to get them is people would call my ad, and they'd say, "Hey, come on over and take a look at all the stuff we got." So then they'd go over there, and here it's the mother's house, and she passed away, and they have to clean out the house, and they're trying to sell furniture or something. And I'd say, you really need to do an estate sale and just sell all this stuff in one weekend. And they say, "Well, how does that work?" And I said, "Well, you just get some tables, put everything out, you price everything, and you put it in the paper, and people come on a Saturday or a Friday or Saturday and just sell everything, get rid of it." And they said, "We could never do that." And I said, "Well, I could help you. I could help you run a sale." And they want to know how it works, and I would charge 30%, and I need a week or so to get ready, and then, and believe it or not, people would just hand me the key. There'd be no contract or anything. It's just, "Here's the key, when can you do it?" And I'd call my buddy up, and then we'd go over and price everything and sell, get rid of it all. And it's just for using my ad and using my business card. Another way I used my business card is I would use it online. I'll give you another story. I saw an ad on Craigslist for a sale that was on a Friday and Saturday, and I saw it on the Thursday, and the person had put in the ad that if you have any questions about anything, please call. So I texted the person. I said, would it be okay if I came over today and on Thursday? And he wrote back and said, what are you looking for? And I texted him a picture of my card because I have it on my phone all the time. I sent him a picture of the card, and he wrote back. He said, come on over. Here's my address. And I went right over there, and I was the first one in the sale. I went through the whole house, and I had a big pile of stuff that I bought, and just from sending that card. And I've also a number of times on, you can go on Facebook, different, around me, there's a lot of garage sale groups and buy-sell groups, and I could just put a picture of my card on there, just post a picture of my card, so people can see it, and people occasionally call. And I've gotten calls on my card that I had one call where the guy, he said, you were at my garage sale 10 years ago and you left your card there. And he said, it turns out he was a house flipper and he bought a house that was full of stuff. And he wanted me to know if I wanted to come over and look through the stuff. And of course I went over there and I could do another video all about that one because it was pretty much unbelievable. The people that own the house, they must have had a store back in the 60s, and they went out of business or they closed it. I don't know. And they put all their merchandise, unused, brand new stuff up in the attic, and it was like boxes of Pyrex up there that were in the original boxes, whole sets. And, it's just one of them unbelievable sales. And I'll tell that story in another video. But those are the ways that I've been. I make a lot of extra money on that type of thing. I even go and sometimes I'll go to I see it like a rundown old house, and I'll go and put my card in the mailbox, and just see if they'll give me a call. You never know. Got to get your name out there, because one of the things you got to think about is if you have a business, you're trying to buy stuff and resell it, and you need to have sources to buy things at, and you have to advertise somehow that for people to find you so they can sell you their stuff. And I go to a lot of garage sales because on a typical summer weekend, I go to maybe 100 sales, and I'm standing there right in front of my customers, the people that are looking for me. And I could talk to them one-on-one, and I could give them my card and say, I'm looking to buy stuff, if you want to sell. And what better is that? I'm face-to-face with them. They get to see who I am. And I don't know, people seem to trust me. People seem to let me in the house. People seem to take me in the basement and show me around. I've had, you won't believe it. You won't believe the things I've done. It amazes me every time. Some older woman just letting some strange guy go in her bedroom and look in the drawers. It's just crazy. But it happens all the time. Believe it. It happens. And I've done it many, many times. I've been doing it for years. And so anyways, that's one quick video I wanted to make. I'm going to be making more. So subscribe and like the video. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. So thanks a lot.